Savage! We with you, bro. We got your back. We're going to stand with you. We'll show them over there with their stiff upper lips. We'll show them a thing or two right here, right now.
If anybody knows who his PR is, perhaps they could put me in touch, because if I could get banned from going to America, and I'm not planning to go to America, it'd be great, wouldn't it? I wouldn't agree with some of his views, but hey, listen, he said he's got freedom to express them. Have we lost the plot in this country?
Teddy thinks that England has gone to the dogs. Bravo, Teddy. I think Teddy will now be banned in England. Oh, my wonderful production team. They do this for me. They know that I'm a little down right now. Oh, lordy, lordy. Here is the Savage Nation. Another big hour. 1-800-449-8255 from anywhere in the civilized world. I think you have to add an 011 from the uncivilized world. I got a letter from an email from a relative, and I'm going to retain the privacy. But it's so well put. Its 2 sentences are so long. Dear Michael Savage, I just wanted to share my shock and outrage over the British Home Secretary's inclusion of Michael on the dreadful list of people banned from the UK. Having recently visited the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., and seeing the horrific result of such shallow thinking, I can see the parallels and truly fear for our freedom. Please know I support you in the right to free speech. Love. Now that's what I call an email. Now that brings me to the Dreyfus affair. Because there are dreadful parallels between what is being done to me by these Lilliputians in England and the Dreyfus affair, which is a political scandal which divided France in the 1890s and the early 1900s. The Dreyfus affair involved the conviction for treason in November of 1894 of Captain Alfred Dreyfus, who was a French artillery officer of Alsatian Jewish descent. He was sentenced to life imprisonment because they said he had communicated French military secrets to the German embassy in Paris. Dreyfus was then sent to the penal colony at Devil's Island in French Guiana and placed in solitary confinement. Many of you saw the movie many years ago. It's actually a dreadful version with that ham actor who's never done anything good since Ratso Rizzo. 2 years later, in 1896, evidence came to light identifying a French army major named Ferdinand Walsin Esterhazy, screamer, as the real culprit. You hear this? However, see, Esterhazy was the real culprit. Esterhazy was the real treasonous one. But high-ranking French military officials suppressed this new evidence, and Esterhazy was unanimously acquitted after the second day of his trial in military court. Instead of being exonerated, Alfred Dreyfus was further accused on the basis of false documents fabricated by French counterintelligence officers seeking to reconfirm Dreyfus's conviction. Word of the military court's framing of Alfred Dreyfus and of an attendant cover-up began to spread through France, largely due, now pay attention, all of those of you in the media, to a vehement public protestation in a Paris newspaper by writer Émile Zola in January of 1898. Thus far, America does not have an Émile Zola. Thus far, we have very few Émile Zolas. The case was then reopened due to this pressure, and Alfred Dreyfus was brought back from Guyana in 1899 to be tried again. And the intense judicial and political scandal that ensued divided French society between those who supported Dreyfus and those who condemned Dreyfus, such as Edouard Drumont, the director-publisher of the anti-Semitic newspaper La Libre Parole, and etc. Eventually, though, all the accusations against Alfred Dreyfus were demonstrated to be baseless. Dreyfus was exonerated finally, reinstated as a major in the French army in 1906. He later served during the whole World War I, ending his service with the rank of lieutenant colonel. Now, certainly, we are not yet at the point where I'm being sent to Devil's Island. That is not to say that there are not those in this government who would like to send me, would certainly love to send me to a Devil's Island, if they could. But thus far, I am still protected by the United States Constitution. But there are minor, if not major, similarities between this condemnation of Dreyfus and these false accusations against Michael Savage. Meaning, you can take my sound bites, 15 years of radio, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. Think of how many thousands of hours of broadcasts I've given. Don't you think that if I had actually ever incited violence or called for violence, I would have been thrown off radio stations in the beginning or along the way? But I never have. So, as I say, you can frame anybody with sound bites, which has been done to me by Media Matters, and that's a George Soros and Hillary Clinton created company, by the way. She even boasted about having created this group. I know where these sound bites came from in England. They came from Media Matters. That's my allegation. And when the court case, when this court case eventually comes around, we're going to prove through discovery. We're going to try to prove where these sound bites came from, and this could bring down this government. That's all I can say. I'm telling you right now, this is out of my hands. But if I don't get an apology from the British Home Office and my name is not removed from that list, and we go to trial, which could cost me $2 million, but I'm willing to spend it. When we go to trial, we will conduct discovery here in America. And if that email trail comes back up the chain to the Obama administration, this government will fall. And that's why those of you in the Obama administration who are listening right now, I heartily advise you to call your cohorts, Jackie Smith et al., and get my name off that list and put it behind you, because I'll drop it at that point. Otherwise, I warn you, I have a legal team in place that will pursue this with or without me until my name is cleared. So do it for the sake of your master, if for no one else. Certainly don't do it for me. But I heartily recommend you call Jackie, the X-rated Home Secretary, and take care of this right now. And that's all I have to say at this moment. So let's have a little I ran all the way home. I'll get a stretch. I'm going to lift weights now in the studio. That's all. It was good when I was 15, kill it. What else did they do, the Cleftones? They were from Jamaica High School, weren't they? Didn't they do something bigger than they ran all the way home? That's the one I love. Little Girl of Mine, that I love. Yeah, that was the good stuff. The Electric Blue Saddle Stitched Pants was written around this time. Now that's a different universe. Jukebox America. I think I'm going to do, play another stanza. Yeah, it's a page long. Stop right now. In my great opus, Psychological Nudity, Savage Radio Stories, which you can only buy, you can't buy it in bookstores yet. It's only available on michaelsavage.com. I've done very well with it. You know, I'm not buying a new anything with it, but it's done very well. I don't need bookstores. They need me. See, it's my kind of book that can keep bookstores alive, but they don't want my books. So they publish the same left-wing direct that nobody buys. Just like the newspapers. Going out of business. Why? Same left-wing direct. No one reads it. So in my opus, Psychological Nudity, the Electric Blue Saddle-Stitched Pants, is the first story. I chose it as my lead story. And it's a page long, and I'm going to read it in a minute, but play the music again, just so they know what I'm setting the stage now. All right, now we're going to take it back to the 7th grade. 7th grade. And my mother buys me a new pair of incredible pants. We didn't have a lot of money, but she knew I wanted these pants really badly. It was the Elvis era, you see, and Mama Savage saved, and she bought me a pair of electric blue saddle-stitch pants. And I wore them to school. I think it was the 7th grade, yeah. And I thought I was Elvis himself, you see. On the very first day, a bigger, older kid just happened to be wearing the same electric blue saddle-stitch pants. And naturally, we got into a scuffle. He pushed me down, and my gorgeous Elvis pants were ripped in the knee. I thought it was the end of the world because these were the most expensive, beautiful pants I had ever had in my life. So the rest of the day, I couldn't sit through the classes. Whatever the teacher said, my mind was somewhere else. My heart was pounding. I was thinking, how am I going to tell my mother? How am I going to tell my mother about the ripped pants? So I came home with the pants, hiding the rip under my coat. I said, Ma, I ripped my pants. But she didn't get mad. She said, let me see them. Don't worry about that. I said, you're not going to tell Dad, are you? She said, no, don't worry about it. So all night long, I couldn't sleep. The next day, the women were talking it over, sitting around the little table in that little house in Queens, and they were moving the crumbs around with their bread knives on the oilcloth, tablecloth, and talking. They decided what to do. They took the pants to a certain tailor, and the word came back, don't worry, Michael, the pants can be weaved. Now, I didn't know what the pants can be weaved meant. I don't think they do that anymore because clothing has become something different than it was in my day. Today, we throw everything in the garbage the minute it's soiled. But I knew from that moment on that everything would be good, and it was. The pants were weaved. That's what a mother's for, I guess, to fix everything with a broken heart. This is the Savage Nation. I'll be right back.